The fear of staying within a comfort zone, that's not where we stop. We have to push through those moments because on the other side is either something beautiful or something that strengthens and empowers us. Hey, oh no, oh my. Hey guys, it's me, your autoimmune friend, and today we are going to be talking about dating with an autoimmune disease and how me sharing my autoimmune disease online came up not even on the first date, but maybe within 72 hours of me meeting this person and how catastrophic it did not go. So yikes. Everyone always asks me, like, what is it like dating with an autoimmune disease, particularly hair loss, because hair is such a part of femininity, such a part about being a girl, like all the things. And I have always, like, I don't have the best insight or experience into that because for most of my adult life, I have either talked or dated people that I've been friends with, so like they knew, and I was pretty casual about like, oh yeah, like there's a spot in my head, whatever. But you also cannot see it. Oh wait, I forgot to take my hair out of this thing. You also can't see it, so I have the immense privilege of hiding my hair loss, which I know is not the case for everyone, and I will recognize not only the privilege but the blessing from God that it is, because there is something very sensitive about experiencing hair loss as a woman. And I've experienced this since I was a teenager. So even then, it was still something sensitive to me. Um, but there's something really sensitive about it because, again, so much of femininity is a part of our hair. And as much as people say, like, oh, it's just hair, and no, because you guys also love to mock people who, not by choice, have zero control over the fact that they are losing their hair. So there's that. Now, I also understand that, again, not only that I am very privileged that you cannot see what LPP has done to my head, but I also have to acknowledge that there are some insecurities that come with that as well. Like people say like, oh, I love that you handle this with grace and you're so confident. There are moments where I don't feel that way, and there was literally a very long time span years ago where I constantly felt like I didn't have the confidence. I did not handle this with grace. It was a struggle day in and day out. And I really had to pray and dig deep to find confidence that was not tied to my hair. Because my entire life, I literally was, oh, the girl with long hair, or people come like, oh, I love your hair. And it's like, once that I started to lose that, I really truly felt like I was losing my confidence. Not even felt I lost my confidence in the process. So it took a while to even get to that point. And I know that I don't know, it's just so delicate and sensitive because I also grapple with the thoughts sometimes of like, what if I lose all of my hair? Like, what do I do? Every time I try to talk about this on here, I get emotional. But what if I lose all of my hair? Like, what do I do then? Like, where? Because I haven't dug that deep yet, and I'm praying I don't have to. But whatever may happen, what do I do then? And I know that I'll probably be able to handle it, but processing that is a lot because by the grace of God, like it's definitely been a slow process for me, but that is something that I have to consider and think about. And when I think about relationships and dating and things of that nature, that comes up for me. And I will say that that is actually a one of many illogical reasons why I stayed within a certain comfort zone of dating in like my earlier 20s. I mean, I'm still in my 20s. Am I in my late? How old am I? I'm in my late 20s. Oh my gosh. This is insane. I am literally becoming an adult and I am not a fan. Oh my goodness. Okay, my early 20s. Yikes. Geez. But staying in a comfort zone so I didn't have to face the thought of someone not responding well to the fact that I do have this autoimmune disease and it does affect my hair and it does affect how I show up and it is something very vulnerable to express or deal with. And I say all the time, empathy has left the chat when it comes to the world today. And there are very few people that are empathetic or kind, to say the least. And having to deal with that, and it also, I mean, depends on like who you're choosing as a partner as well. But having to like navigate that when there's also like there's the things that you see there, like yeah, you're not it. But then when you dig a little deeper, it's like you're really not it because I don't even know how you would respond to this part of my life. Like, how do I even share this with you? Because the emotional competence is not there, and that person should be the safe space for that. So there's that. All right, so getting into the how in the world did me sharing my autoimmune disease online come up, not even, it would have been one thing if it came on a first date, but literally within 72 hours of meeting someone is insane and diabolical, okay? Especially when, like I just said, you literally do not know what you're getting yourself into these days. So I'm trying not to tell the story the way that I usually tell my stories because apparently people are not fond of my storytelling. But here we go. So essentially, I'm also trying not to give like a ton of backstory. I mean, there's not a ton of backstory to it, but essentially, I there we go. One of my friends invited this guy from our church to come to this event that we were going to, and wasn't a complete stranger because we literally sat next to him for several months prior and just never like spoke or anything. Or at least she did. She talked to everyone, so she did. But I don't talk. God is working on me. The moment I just speak to people, it's 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 a beautiful day because he's working on me. But I don't. People think I'm extroverted. I am in fact not. I am the opposite. It makes me feel a little. Now I can talk in front of crowds for sure. One on one doesn't work for me unless I have to. Anyway, so my friend invited this guy to this worship night that we attend, and somehow became the point person for. She has to. I became the point person, okay, for the communication. So ended up like sending all the information, met there, whatever, and we're like talking, engaging, found out we had a lot of things in common. Cool, love that. And then afterwards, we're talking like outside at my car. We literally were talking at our cars for like 3 hours. Insane, diabolical. I just said I'm not an extrovert. Why am I talking to someone for 3 hours outside? I am the queen of thinking I'm going to get kidnapped. Okay, so this was a lot. So that was like the introduction of the start of this, shall we say? Within 72 hours, first off, found out like lots of things in common. Like we're going somewhere with this, all right? And then a few days later, maybe like a 2 days later, we were talking. Literally talking until like 4 o'clock in the morning. All the things under the sun. Okay, mind you, again, my bedtime 9:30 p.m. Talking to someone until 4 o'clock in the morning says a lot. So we're talking. It's about different things that you talk about when you get to know someone. Family dynamics, values, all the things. And somehow, some way, he was like, oh, like I was just fasting from social media, and I just finished it a few days ago. Can I follow you on Instagram? I was like, okay, cool. I said, okay, cool. In my head, panicking. So I have two separate Instagram accounts. One that I've had since I was a teenager, and then I have the Honey Cluster. You could imagine these are two separate experiences or glances into my life, for sure. The Honey Cluster, we're talking autoimmune disease. I'm crying. We're being vulnerable. We're sharing all the things. Public for millions to see. My other one, I actually rarely use it. I'm mostly posting my stories about my brothers, and that's about it. So I'm like, okay, yeah. And not that I was never going to mention, I could never not mention having an autoimmune disease because I mention it fairly often, or it comes up often. When it comes to people that I actually know, it's more passive. Like I don't really go in depth into it unless it's someone that like I know and have a rapport and a relationship with. So in my head, I'm like, all right, I gotta move fast because man, so I think I was like, man, what is my thing? Like, let me see what my thing is. Like I forgot. So I'm like looking, I'm deleting the Honey Cluster out of the bio, like I'm moving some things around and I send like my personal page. So I send that and he's like, so he like follows it or whatever, and he's like, do you have a twin or do you have like another page? The way I wanted that conversation to end immediately. Immediately. I wanted it to be done. I wanted it to be over because, like I said, I never had to introduce the idea of having an autoimmune disease, not just an autoimmune disease, but an autoimmune disease that causes hair loss, which ruptures the idea of femininity that society places on women. So here I am. No, I don't have a twin. Yeah, I do have another page. It's like about my autoimmune disease, like very passive about it. Pauses, and he's like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. You sent me what you wanted me to see, and me going down a rabbit hole found this other page and um found the other page, whatever. I'm so sorry. I definitely feel like I either invaded like your I don't think he didn't say all that, but he definitely was like, I'm so sorry you sent what you wanted me to see. And I went down a rabbit hole and found this other page. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, I mean, it's open. It's for the world to see. But yeah, he's like, well, it's fine. Like I just wanted to ask like some questions, and I was like, ask your questions, go for it. I'm used to people asking questions, literally all the time. Medical advice, all the things. I'm not a medical, and yet here we are. Always, I'm used to it. So he's like, oh, so like, what is like infantile flares? So I explained to him what it is. I don't know what I think I knew enough at that point to know that it wouldn't be a knee jerk reaction when I explained it. And I knew enough to know that I could share it, but I just didn't want to open that Pandora's box that soon. Um, because I've never had to. Like, I've never had to introduce this idea, so I just didn't know what was going to happen. So I explained that to him, and of course, the response like everyone else, like, "Oh my, like you're doing such an amazing thing, like sharing this and being vulnerable and all these things." I'm like, "Oh, like thank you." I literally am just sharing like my experiences. That's it. But it was just really warming, I guess, for it to be one acknowledging that like I may not have wanted to share that, and now it's kind of like, oh, I have to share that. But then again, I will not negate the fact that it is literally open for us all to see. But then the question was, this one is how I knew we were onto something. Okay, so I asked some questions, went through some videos or whatever, or some posts, and then he asked, as someone who wants to be in your life, how can I show up for you? Come close, come close, come close. In case you did it, in case you missed it the first time. As someone who wants to be in your life, how can I show up for you? You know, that is when I knew. We, I thought we were onto something, but we are really onto something now. I literally was tearing up. Like, what? Like, that's your, like, for me? What? And it's so crazy because it's like, people don't always ask that. People say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," or "Oh, have you tried this? Oh, have you done this?" I know someone who has experienced this, but no one really asks like, "What do you need? How do I show up for you? How do I support you?" Even when it's like your community or like your close and your family, your friend, like people don't always do that. Sometimes they just show up for you, and it's actually how you need it to, how you need them to. And other times it's like, can we acknowledge this? Like, can we give this a name? So to be asked that meant a lot to me. And I don't think that I had like some concrete answers. I believe I may have said, um, of course, thank you for asking, and shared that like I think this was in the fall, so like when it's winter and it's cold outside, which is very brief in Houston. But I avoid going outside because it can trigger inflammation. I shared that there's certain things that I avoid, or I try to manage my stress and make sure decompressing is a part of my routine. I try to eat properly. I have not eaten properly, and I don't know when. But I just shared a few tidbits, and then later on, like as maybe like a month later, I was like, oh, like if I'm ever like picking at my scalp, please tell me to stop. So like just things like that. But to be considered is something I've actually been saying a lot lately. And part of it has been like a part of this experience, but like to be considered is it's such a beautiful thing. Because even in me saying like those answers, we had gone to multiple holiday parties or like dinners, and he made sure that for the RSVPs that like it was plant based for me or it was seafood for me, like literally letting them know like, oh no, she's pescatarian, or like making sure that I had options that fit what I needed for my health. And it's just a beautiful thing. So that is how me sharing how the sharing on the internet, my autoimmune disease, the gaping hole in the middle of my head came up before we even had a first date. I was petrified. I don't know. I actually don't know the song, but I know it's right. I don't even think I was petrified. I was unsure of how that was going to play out, but it played out beautifully. And yeah, so there we go. We know I have very end of the spectrum experiences. But when I have the good end of the spectrum experiences, I love that, especially when I can share it, because I feel like that is a part of the hope, or the representation that I get to share with people. Because so many people that I've talked to or that have reached out to me, like ask about dating with an autoimmune disease or dating with alopecia, and it feels like such a terrifying thing. But I think that it's never you're never the problem. First and foremost, you are never the problem. You having a condition that is out of your control is never the problem. The emotional immaturity or the lack of empathy or the lack of humanity of someone else is their problem. And to not see beyond the struggle that you have to experience or the battle seen or unseen that you have to experience, especially when it is seen, like as though they don't have their own hidden battle, because everyone has something that people can't see that they experience. um But I feel like this is a good story to hear, I guess, and hopefully helpful and insightful to. It's not all bad. There's decent people in the world still, but that there's the fear of staying in a comfort zone for the sake of not having to face the uncomfortable or not having. There we go. The fear. I don't know why I did all of that, but the fear of staying within a comfort zone or not entering a space, whether it be dating, whether it be um, how you show up, how you dress, how you wear your hair, etc., because of how people may respond to you or how they may or may not accept you, that's not where we stop. We have to push through those moments because on the other side is either something beautiful or something that strengthens and empowers us. So I really truly hope that if you are struggling with this, that you, for one, love yourself enough to create space and to be comfortable in sharing. Was I expecting to share that within 72 hours of knowing someone? Absolutely not. But did I know that I could share it? Yes, because I'm also like, this, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it until God does something about it. So it's what we're working with. Um, but I don't think that I would have been down and out had the reaction been differently. So yeah, that's my little story. That's my little tidbit. And I guess we can talk a little bit more about different things when it comes to dating with alopecia or an autoimmune disease. Let me know some questions if you have any, and I can share to the best of my ability. But yeah, hey, crying on the internet, it's not all bad. Sometimes it breaks the ice for uncomfortable conversations. Just saying. But that is all I have today as your autoimmune friend, and we will talk next time. Bye.